Welcome to MLC TV News Oct, reaching you live from the city of Lokoja, the confluent state of Nigeria. I am Khadijat Mohammed. First, the headlines. Floods ravage KOGI, hundreds displaced, farmland and properties destroyed. NECO withholds Niger students' result over 500 million naira debt. US will never recognize Russia's annexation attempts, Biden vows. And federal government redeems House pledge to 1994 Super Eagles 28 years after. Now the news in detail. The Nigerian Governors Forum has expressed worry over the lingering Academic Staff Union of Universities strike, urging all parties to come together to an agreement. The forum appreciated the federal government for removing its earlier position, sanctioning members of the academic unit to reach an amicable settlement so that students can return to school. The NGF chairman, Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, made this known while briefing journalists after a meeting of the forum at the newly commissioned NGF Secretariat in Abuja. Governor Fayemi stated that the forum also examined the issue of flooding across the length and breadth of the country, in which some states were severely affected, and decided to take necessary steps to ameliorate the conditions of the states affected by flooding via a strong representation to the president led by the chairman, vice chairman and the interim vice chairman of the NGF. He further explained, the forum examined issues relating to the proposed privatization of the power project and took the decision that the NGF opposed to the sale of any of the plants until appropriate steps have been taken that will take interest of the states that are also equity holders in those plants. The National Examinations Council has revealed that the Niger State government owes the examination body 500 million naira as debt from unpaid examination fees of students. Registrar of the examination body, Dantani Ushishi, disclosed this during the release of the results of the 2022 Internal Senior Secondary Certificate Examinations in Minna. He confirmed that the examination body is withholding the results of all students in the state as a result of the debt owed by the state government. The registrar added that he had advised the state government to separate the names of candidates who were self-sponsored from those sponsored by the government to enable them to access their results. Ushishi also revealed that the council recorded a decline in examination malpractice in the 2022 internal SSCE as compared to other years. 2012 cannot be erased from the flood history of KOGI, where almost all local government areas had their unpleasant experience. Hundreds of people were displaced from their communities and homes, deaths were recorded, and farmlands were destroyed. Exactly 10 years after this massive flood again hit KOGI State, many persons and their properties across major communities are already victims. KOGI, Kotokarafi, and Ibaji riverine areas have already been submerged. Some parts of Lokoja now depend on canoes to move in and out of their residence. This has called for urgent federal and state intervention as His Royal Majesty Ohimege Igu of Kotokarafi, Abdulrazak Isakoto, lamented over the level of destruction by the flood and called for help. Our reporter who went round to observe the level of flooding in the city of Lokoja has more.
Hundreds of persons already dispersed by the flood, and many have resolved to move by canoe from home to town to do their businesses and work. His Royal Majesty Ohimege Igu Kotokaufi has called on the government to provide a lasting solution to reduce the suffering the people are facing every year in KOGI, Kotokaufi local government area of the state.
Houses, farmlands are all overtaken by flood. And at the rate at which the volume of water is coming, more communities will fall prey into this hostile situation. Your Excellency, particularly in KOGI local government, most of these rural communities have spoken to them on the need to relocate. Some of them have agreed to relocate, but relocating is not the problem. They will need assistance to build houses, build hospitals, and other social facilities. this is not something the state government alone can do. So I want to use this forum to appeal to you, through you to the federal government, so that these people can be properly situated. It will go a long way in solving this decimal recurrence every year.
In Ghana, the coordinator of EBIGO, Alex Onoja, commended Governor Yaya Bello for his proactive measures that he took before the flood got massive.
But I want you to understand that this is a natural disaster because of the release of water from Lajo Dam in Adamawa Mountains in Cameroon. The influx of water coupled with the water from Kenji Dam and Shiroro Dam, the overfilling of water coming together in KOGI State as a confluence. So you should expect this. But the good thing is His Excellency Governor Bello has done all he could in collaboration with SEMA, the KOGI State Emergency Management Agency, and that is why you see they've been able to mitigate it to this extent because of the radio, the jingle announcement to get people prepared, and that's what you can see with all the relief materials that have been given by His Excellency Governor Bello in collaboration with SEMA. But what I can assure you is the situation is under control. One, our people are enlightened. Only yesterday, you notice we just rounded up the World Environmental Health Day. We had a meeting which I anchored under the auspices of the KOGI State Local Government Service Commission, where we brought all stakeholders from the 21 local government area in Lokoja, and we educate them on how to carry out the basic thematic area of response.
So it's quite devastating, and you know, it is not something that the state government can handle alone, as said earlier said by the Honorable Commissioner for Environment. It is something that requires the intervention of not only even the federal government but the international community. KOGI has a confluence of two of Africa's biggest rivers, rivers Niger and Benue, and you expect this kind of flooding every year. So it is quite devastating.
That is why we are still calling on the federal government. You can see that so many houses, thousands of houses have been submerged now, and so the people are rendered homeless.
Kabawa, Ganaja and Adankolo are already being disturbed by the massive flooding. Matthias Ayodeji Peter reporting for MLC TV.
Society for Water and Sanitation, a non-governmental organization, has visited some of the flooded areas in KOGI State. The coordinator, Roslyn Alabi, a pastor and a government agency's board member, has sympathized with the victims and also sensitized them on the need to relocate to IDP camps made available for them. She said the need for them to stay in a hygienic environment is key, hence the need for them to move. Some of the flooded areas in the state capital visited are Ganaja Village, Adankolo Estate and Kabawa. Flood in KOGI has submerged houses and farmlands worth millions of naira. Our reporter has more.
Pastor Roslyn with her team visited the affected people, said their visit is to urge them to move to camps where the state government has provided for them, saying it will prevent them from contracting cholera and other waterborne diseases.
Their houses have been flooded. We get to some places, you will not even know there are houses that existed there. So, and then the issue of parking, they begin to park their load from one place to another. The people are so stressful. And because of this floods, there is no good water.
She emphasizes on the need to sensitize the people against open defecation and drinking of polluted water to avoid health hazards.
We don't want people to shit outside. We want eradication of open defecation in KOGI State. And also we want to ensure that people, they have good water points.
The secretary to the NGO, Ruben Joshua, called on the relevant stakeholders, NGOs and government agencies to come organize more sensitization exercises on the need to be hygienic and to also provide relief materials for the victims.
We've seen the havoc that this flood have caused, and as a society that is concerned about water and sanitation, we are trying to sensitize people, though this is a very terrible moment in their lives, but even as they are experiencing this moment, hygiene is very key and sanitation is very key. They should try as much as possible to be careful of the kind of water and food they consume at this point in time to avoid the outbreak of diseases.
Some of the affected individuals appealed to the state and federal government to come to their rescue because all their houses, farms, business shops are already being submerged by water.
We need the federal government to come down to this state to hear the cry of masses, not to give to those people, our brothers, to come and sit on top of it and give 6,000 naira, 5,000 to people. That is not what we want, sir. Please, let them help so that the masses, we have old men, old women, sitting in these houses you are seeing. They have nothing doing. When this water come to destroy them now, even to feed now, is trouble for them. Yes. People are living where they are looking for where to even sleep, they could not see. How can you talking about food?
Just packed our shop and we are working at the road, and just this morning this mechanic shop, and just this morning the river was down there and now it has packed the road. So I'm trying to say that the government should help us in whatever way they can.
In fact, as it stands, we are saying it's even much more than that of 2012. So I don't know what the government might really do for people, because the way it's going, houses have been damaged, no shops. You can see we are even at people's workshop, but you cannot even feel any roof around here, like as if anything is happening here. All this road, the street has been filled with people's properties, business and all that. People are just perching just to find their feet and all that. I don't know, but I just pray that the government should really come to the aid of KOGI State people and their citizens and see what they can do to salvage this situation. If it's by drainage, if it's by doing something good for us, or maybe raising more funds to aid people, or I don't know, anything they think they can do for us, they should just come to our aid. People here are really suffering.
I am one of the team, search and rescue team. That is the main reason I'm here, to guide them not to carry overloaded. We gave them number of passengers to carry. That you can see me with something just to force them. We are not here with arms. We are here with arms men, like those we try control, and they are proving arrogant. We take them to where they will take correction. So we make sure we oversee all the activities that is going on in this place.
It was gathered that more dams would still be opened and only those who move away from riverine or flood-prone areas will be protected. They used the opportunity to call on those still living in flood-prone areas to vacate the place, saying prevention is better than cure. Matthias Ayodeji Peter reporting for MLC TV.
On politics, the Supreme Court has dismissed the suit challenging the authenticity of Ademola Adeleke's candidacy in the just concluded Osun State governorship election. The suit was instituted by Dotun Babayemi, a former governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Osun State. In a judgment delivered by Justice Amina Ogi, the 5-member panel held that the court lacked jurisdiction to hear the suit after the counsel for the appellant, Adebayo Adelodu, withdrew the earlier notice of appeal that was filed within time. At the resumed hearing, Adelodu, who represented the appellant, and Babayemi informed the court that he sought to withdraw the earlier notice of appeal to replace it with a fresh application he filed. But the panel held that Section 285, subsection 1 of the Constitution, stipulated that an appeal on a pre-election matter must be filed within 14 days from the day of the decision, and that having filed the second appeal out of time, the Apex Court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the matter. Justice Ogi therefore dismissed the appeal for lack of jurisdiction. In his judgment on the matter on May 18, Justice Nathaniel Ayo Emmanuel of the Federal High Court, Osogbo, had upheld the governorship primary that produced Adeleke. Also, the Court of Appeal, Akure Division, in its judgment of July 28 on the appeal filed against the decision of the Federal High Court, Osogbo, aligned with the lower court and dismissed Babayemi's appeal. After his victory at the party's primary, Adeleke trounced Governor Boyega Oyetola of All Progressives Congress at the governorship election in the state. The Independent National Electoral Commission in July said Adeleke won 17 of the 30 local government areas during the election, whilst Oyetola, who sought re-election, won 13 local governments. National chairmen of 18 political parties and their presidential candidates signed a peace accord. committing themselves to peaceful campaigns ahead of the 2023 elections. The event, which was an initiative of the National Peace Committee, was held in Abuja. The presidential candidates present at the event included Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, his Labour Party and Social Democratic Party counterpart Peter Obi and Adewale Adebayo, Major Hamza Al-Mustafa retired of the Action Alliance, and Justice Peter Umeadi of the All Progressive Grand Alliance. The presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, was however absent at the event. His running mate Kashim Shettima and the party's national chairman, Adamu Abdullahi, however signed the agreement. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, in his pre-recorded goodwill message played at the event, advised political parties and their candidates to play their part in making the 2023 general elections violence-free. While receiving members of the committee, led by a former head of state, Abdusalami Abubakar, later at the presidential villa, Buhari attributed the peaceful conduct of the 2015 election to the peace pact he signed with former President Goodluck Jonathan. The President urged all signatories to the 2023 Peace Accord and their supporters to abide by its content. We go on a short break. We will be right back.
Get human interest stories right here on MLC TV with entertainment, sports, business, culture, tourism, and fashion news stories all featured on MLC TV. Not forgetting political and current affairs news, state and federal government and people's matters will be discussed regularly on MLC TV. MLC TV, your one-stop online destination for unbiased, accurate news, entrepreneur ideas, and youth matters to the rest of the world. MLC TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone.
Welcome back. On foreign news, new coins featuring the portrait of King Charles have been revealed, with a £50 carrying his image entering general circulation within weeks. BBC News was given the first glimpse of the £50 and a commemorative €5 crown, which include an image of the king by British sculptor Martin Jennings. The coins follow centuries of tradition, with the monarch now facing left, the opposite way to his predecessor, as with previous British kings, and unlike the Queen, he wears no crown. King Charles personally approved the effigy and was understood to be pleased with the likeness. The coins will be sold to collectors by the Royal Mint from early next week. The £50 coin will be available for general use well before the end of the year, distributed according to demand by banks, building societies and post offices. They will co-circulate with coins featuring the late Queen. Those 27 billion coins will still be accepted in shops. And Jessop, Chief Executive of the Royal Mint, that coins generally lasted for 20 years, so both Queen Elizabeth and King Charles coins will be in circulation together for many years to come. The United States government said it will not recognize Russia's attempt to annex territory in Ukraine. President Biden made the remark ahead of a speech from Vladimir Putin, who is due to declare that 4 occupied Ukrainian regions will join Russia. The Kremlin says Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kherson backed annexation in 5-day referendums. The so-called votes have been widely condemned outside Russia as a sham. The US will impose new sanctions on Russia as a result of the annexation. The Russian president signed 2 decrees recognizing Zaporizhia and Kherson as independent territories, paving the way for them to be annexed. The documents shared on Russian state media say the independence of the 2 regions is being recognized in accordance with international law and enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations. However, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said any annexation of a country's territory based on the use of force violates the UN Charter and international law. Former Zambian President Edgar Lungu says he is ready to face the law if he's told during his term. Lungu is unhappy that he, as well as his former government officials and family members, have been subject of investigation for crimes allegedly committed when he was president. He was particularly displeased that state investigators went to a piece of land that he owns to carry out investigations. Lungu has since appealed to his successor, Hakainde Hichilema, to start the process of removing his constitutional immunity from prosecution so that he can clear his name. Lungu, who last year lost power to Hichilema, has previously denied many allegations of corruption during his time as president. It's now time to join Jonah Malik for Sports Update.
And on Sports Update, two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua suggested that boxing could change its rules to introduce live scorecard during fights. The 32-year-old has been outpointed by Ukrainian heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk in their last two fights. Anthony Joshua has now said live scorecard could show how fights are playing out as they go on, meaning boxers know how many of the remaining rounds they need to win or if they need to score a knockdown. As it stands in boxing, the judges' scorecard currently remains a mystery until the fight winner is announced. Still on sports, the federal government on Thursday has handed over the certificate of occupancy and other land documents to late Stephen Keshi and 14 other members of the 1994 Super Eagles team. The sport legend was gifted a 3-bedroom flat apartment in Delta State. According to a statement signed by the Director of Press and Public Relations Blessing Larry Adams, the handing over ceremony was done at the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on Thursday in Abuja. It will be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari early this year promised to gift houses to 22 members of the 1994 Super Eagles team from the housing unit under the National Housing Program in any state of their choice. At the handover ceremony, Director, Public Building and Housing, Solomon Labafilo, who handed over the C of O on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria, assured that the remaining 9 members will receive their homes soon, addition to the entitled C of O as well. Speaking on behalf of the family, Ifeanyi Mudabai expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for redeeming his promises after 28 years. Ifeanyi, who is late Stephen Kechi's uncle, applauded the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, for the thoughtful initiation of fulfilling the promise through the National Housing Program. Ibrahim Musa Gusau has emerged the new president of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF. He was elected at the NFF 78th Elective Congress in Benin City, the Edo State capital, on Friday. Gusau polled 21 votes to beat his closest challenger, former First Vice President Barrister Seyi Akinwumi, who got 12 votes, while the Eswao League Management Committee LMC Chairman Shehu Diko got just 6 votes. Ibrahim Gusau became the new president, taking over from Amaju Pinnick. And that's Sports Update on MLC TV News. I am Malik Jonah reporting. Back to our caster for more stories.
Thank you, Jonah. On entertainment, let's join Matthias Ayodeji for updates.
On our foreign entertainment news, chart-dominating artist and global high-selling pop star Ed Sheeran have been told by a federal judge that he must face trial over accusations that he copied Marvin Gaye's 1973 hit single Let's Get It On his 2014 single Thinking Out Loud. Ed Sheeran has appealed to the court that the copyright claims be struck out for being baseless and way too common. In a judgment delivered on Thursday, 29 September 2022, U.S. District Judge Louis Staton declared that a jury will have to determine the level of similarity between both songs after a disagreement between musical experts on both sides of the lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed in 2018 by investment banker David Pullman and Structured Asset Sales, which acquired part of the estate of Let's Get It On co-writer Ed Townsend. The plaintiffs are requesting $100 million in damages over allegations that allege that Ed Sheeran and his co-writer, Amy Wage, copied and exploited without authorization or credit the Marvin Gaye song, including but not limited to the melody, rhythms, harmonies, drums, bass lines, backing chorus, tempo, syncopation, and looping. Ed and his co-writers John McDide and Stephen McChocchun were recently the subject of a lawsuit over accusations that part of the chorus on their song Shape of You ripped off OY, a 2015 record by Rose Odonogwe and Sam Chokri. In the trial that took place in March 2022, the High Court judge declared that the imitation was neither deliberate nor subconsciously and awarded Ed and his co-defendant £900,000 in costs. After his victory in court, Ed posted on his Instagram page that he hopes the ruling will bring an end to future baseless claims. However, to contend with, Ed Sheeran is not getting his wish just yet. Crossing over to Africa, Kaduna-based filmmaking company The Critics are set to debut a short film titled Ogunola, War is Coming, in partnership with Morgan Freeman and Laurie McCreary's The Revolution. According to Variety, the short film, narrated by Freeman, follows the story of Ola, a brash teenager who discovers he is the reincarnation of a demigod and spirals into his destiny, unprepared for the events that comes as a result of his discovery. Smithsonian. Ogunola will debut simultaneously on the Critics YouTube channel and the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, plus 234 Connect Festival, a celebration of Nigerian creativity. With features on BBC, CNN, Reuters, and Al Jazeera, among others, the group of young filmmakers became an internet sensation after debuting their short film The Chase, shot entirely on their mobile phones in 2019. And that is all on entertainment news today. My name is Matthias Ayodeji Peter, reporting for MLC TV. Back to Akasta for more stories.
Thank you, Matthias. The Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Edward Onoja, has condoled with the good people of Ampa local government area over the fuel tanker explosion which occurred at Mabolo Bridge at Otupo Road, causing destruction of lives and properties. Onoja, who said he is joining his principal, Governor Yahya Bello of Kogi State, who had earlier sent his condolences to the government and people of Ampa, and particularly the bereaved families, decried the attitude of tanker drivers, whom he said seem to have made a habit of plunging different parts of Kogi State into mourning through reckless driving or by putting unserviceable vehicles on the road which get into accidents. The Deputy Governor promised that the state will get to the bottom of the latest tragedy. Onoja prayed God to grant those who lost their lives eternal rest, grant their families the fortitude to bear their losses, and healing to the survivors. The Onu Ampa in Kogi State, Abdul Malik Umar, has called on local and state government to stop forthwith trading along the roads and market corridors, stating that traders should utilize the markets and shops provided to avoid frequent death from road accidents. The paramount ruler made the position known in his palace in a condolence message to the people of his domain after the incidents of a tanker lorry that fell and caught fire, justifying his position that Ampa town is located in a slope environment. He also appealed to other artisans like car wash and mechanics not to use the main road, Ampa Bridge or waterside for their activities, as the danger posed by their operation outweighs its advantages. The royal father expressed grief on the lingering and saddening moments of the town, stating that it is death to many after the recent attacks by armed robbers. Abdul Malik Umar said that there are designated areas for all activities created by the local government over the decades, but his subjects' negligence had created dire consequences. The royal father maintained that heeding to his warnings and advices will no doubt reduce the high level of road carnages prevalent in Ampa town. He urged the people to be law-abiding by moving into the market squares, operating within the perimeter of their shops, so as to allow free access to vehicular movement, saying this will reduce to the barest minimum, victim of both natural and artificial occurrences. He urged both government and private sector to support in the campaigns to enable traders and artisans comply with the normal norm, rather than taking laws into their hands. He commiserated with the people of his domain, especially those that lost their loved ones, praying that Almighty God continue to protect his people in their daily activities. The Megari of Lokoja, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Kabir Mekarfi III, is dead. He died at the age of 80. Megari, who died on Wednesday 28 September evening after a brief illness in a private hospital in Abuja, is already been buried according to Islamic rites on 29 September 2022. He was one of the longest serving traditional rulers in Kogi State, having ascended the throne in 1992. Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello led other top officials to attend the burial of the late Megari. The event was also attended by dignitaries from within and outside Kogi State, including the Esunupe, Dr. Yahya Abubakar, former Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Architect Yomi Awoni, Isa Kutepa, General Tunde Obeha retired, and APC Kogi West senatorial candidate Sunday Karimi. While leading the Janaza prayers, the Chief Imam of Lokoja, Sheikh Aminu Shaban, prayed for the repose of the soul of the late monarch and asked for peace to reign in Lokoja and Kogi State. While addressing pressmen after the burial, Governor Bello described the late Megari as a peacemaker who left the legacy of maintaining law and order. He said, as per the vacuum the late king created, they have real fathers who know the history and process of ascending the throne of Megari of Lokoja, and they are going to ensure that the government consult very wide to ensure that it is rancor-free. Governor Bello said his administration is known for peace and unity. He said several vacancies that have been filled that were rancor-free and that the Megari of Lokoja is not going to be an exception. Governor Bello seized the opportunity to commiserate with the people of Ampa for the unfortunate incident that left people dead and others wounded after a fuel tanker exploded along the road. He commiserates with the families and prayed to God Almighty to forgive those that have died. Governor Bello used the opportunity to call on other tanker drivers and road users to be careful and ensure that their vehicles are roadworthy before they put them on the road, because the government is not going to take it lightly anymore. He added that in case of such happening, the government will take it up against the company and owners of such vehicles so that it will serve as a deterrent to others. Sons and daughters of Kogi State from far and near have been trooping into Lokoja to pay their respect to the highly revered monarch and bid him farewell. And that is the size of our package today. Join us tomorrow at the same hour to watch our news as we give you updates on happenings within and across the globe. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, MLC TV, like and follow our Facebook page, MLC TV, Instagram, MLC TV 2021, Twitter at MLC TV 1. For your event coverage, information, contribution, adverts and sponsorship, please call any of our numbers displayed on your screen. Join us Friday and Saturday to watch our special programs. It's MLC TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone. I am Khadijat Mohammed. Please continue to be your brother's keeper to build a united and peaceful society together. Thank you for watching.